Today's guest is a serial entrepreneur with a history of success, giving up a six-figure income to start up an online lifestyle apparel business. This latest venture is empowering individuals to better themselves both physically and mentally. He started out designing and making clothes for PT clients for fun, and since then he's explored his own entrepreneurial journey to build his brand and ride the wave of social media success. I'm very excited to introduce and welcome founder and CEO of Live Fit Apparel, Randall Pich, to the Escape Your Limits podcast.
Do you ever sort of step back and sort of get that chance to appreciate where you are?
Yeah, when I actually go on vacation now, like we go on tour and stuff, I would extend my stay. Let's say we go to like Melbourne, Australia, I would extend my stay about a week and then just soak it all in, you know? Like, dude, I just brought my whole crew out to Melbourne, to the other side of the world, you know? And it's just like, when you're sitting there, I'm talking to my fiance, Sarah, and we're just like, dude, this is insane. Just like how it started, you know? Like just 5 years ago, we were living a completely different lifestyle. You know what I mean?
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. That's right. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. That's right. For the record, lab on me going all the way. All the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste.
It's so trippy because I didn't come from money at all, you know? And it's like, dude, to do what I'm doing now, it's just mind blowing. Yeah, not just for me, but everybody around me too that knew me before, you know?
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. It was a melting pot, and the east side of Long Beach was where a lot of the poverty was at, you know, a lot of housing, a lot of Section 8 housing, which I was a part of, you know. I was raised by a single mother. We were just continuously moving from apartment to apartment, you know, living off of food stamps, because my parents, I'm first generation here, they came from the war, the genocide. They survived the genocide in Cambodia, fled and came here, and I think my mom had me when she was about 21. Had my brother when she was 18. I have an older brother, and the marriage was arranged with my parents. So when they got here, it kind of just split right away.
Right.
Wasn't working out. So, but my dad was always around. I would see him here and there, like every other weekend and stuff. But mainly, I grew up with a single mother in the east side of Long Beach, which was heavily involved with gang activity, Black, Mexicans, Asians, a lot of the Cambodians that fled to Long Beach in the housing area with the government help became gang members, you know. So even there's like two main gangs that are both heavily Cambodian gangs. They were killing each other and then killing the Black gangs. Some joined them, and then the Mexicans were just killing everybody else. I've got a knife to my neck, gotten jewelry snatched out of me by a Cambodian gang that I know. And I actually knew a friend that knew him, but he's like, I can't do nothing, this is just what they do, you know? So I saw that. I was 12 when I first got snatched up, and then I got like a gun pulled on me one time when I was just skateboarding down by on Anaheim in Ohio, right by my house. This guy's like, you know, you bang? So that means like, do you gang bang or something? And I was like, nah, and he just like flashed his, it was like a Cougar Magnum or something. I was like, oh shit. You know, and I was like, oh, nope, that's it. But it was kind of normal. You know, we knew what neighborhoods not to go to, where to walk to. You know, my mom was like, stay away from here. You know, so it's crazy. It's just like what you see in like Straight Outta Compton, that movie. When I was growing up, it was normal for me to have food stamps and cash, like money. My mom was like, you buy only food with this, and this one you buy whatever else you need. I became friends with a lot of skateboarders and surfers and stuff, and they kind of exposed me to a different type of lifestyle. And like I said, I was talking like 4th and 5th grade. That's how young I was when people are already shooting, you know. I know gangbanger kids that are like 15 years old that,
What's a gangbang?
Gangbanger, like an active gang member.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
they're from this hood, they're set on that way, and they're like, they gotta put in work, you know. So I had friends that unfortunately went to that route, and then I got saved by, like, I like to say, skateboarding, you know.
Is that what sort of you felt sort of got you on a good path then, the skateboarding, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like in 4th and 5th grade, I started skateboarding heavily, and then middle school to high school was all like skateboarding and stuff, and then got into music and stuff later. I didn't know anything else, you know, until middle school and stuff. Yeah.
What kind of kept you on a good path then? You know, did you have anyone influencing in your life? Because you said your father wasn't around too much. Where did that come from?
So actually, my dad was around,
Right.
just like not like every day.
Okay.
But it was funny because his side of the family, like my aunts and my dad actually too, kept me in that whole structured family, I guess, orientation type of thing. You know, he's still involved in my life heavily now. But now that I think back at it, dude, if I didn't have him and like, because my aunt and uncles, they're doctors and school teachers, you know, so they were like, Randall, stay in school, do this, you know. They gave me the structure every time I went to go visit my dad. You know, I know my mom meant to do that, but she just wasn't around because she had to go to work. So I was always home alone with my brother, you know, so the only adults I really got to talk to was my mom. But at that time, it was, you know, she didn't really know much. She was just too busy working. But I was exposed to my uncle, my aunts, and they have professional lives. They went to university and graduated and stuff, you know? So they told me to stay aligned and do that route, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
What was the first sort of business venture then? Was it when you got into fitness and personal training, or did you sort of start, you know, some sort of trading earlier than that?
The only reason why I'm in clothing is because that's where I started my entrepreneurship journey from. So when I was about 14, 15 in high school, I used to play in a hardcore band, like a punk hardcore band. And when you're in the band, you got to sell merchandise, right? So I took a graphic design class in high school, like one class, and learned a little bit about how to like make screens for silk screening. And I did that, made my band shirts, and then from there, like, that opened up my vision of like, okay, t-shirts, this is cool, you know, to get something that you design to that you can rock and your fans can rock. So
and you made money from selling them then, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
At the shows, after the shows, we would go to the back or whatever the booth was set up and just start slinging the shirts. And at the time, I was like, I'm just getting the shirts out, you know, whatever, and putting the profits back into the band to pay for whatever, guitar strings, drum heads, whatever. But that's teaching me entrepreneurship knowledge. I didn't know that. That was just me having fun. We got to pay our expenses, and, you know, at that time. So I did that. Obviously, the band thing didn't work out, you know, like it's so hard. So I ended up getting into fitness late in high school. I did drumline, and then I didn't want to do that anymore, so I took a weight training class. So that's when I met this guy, Larry Camacho, my buddy from Nicaraguan guy. He was a pro bodybuilder at a young age for Muscle Mania, and I was just like, dude, I want to look like this dude. You know what I mean? Like, dude, this guy looks like a superhero. Like, how do I look like that? I'm like a skinny kid at the time, like skateboarding and playing drums, you know? So that's when I got into it and discovered the world of like bodybuilding. And then me and my buddy Matt Mayo at the time were just like fascinated by that. And then we're like, dude, we started looking into it more and found out there was like job opportunities where you can be personal trainers. I was like, dude, no way you can like do this for a living. So we ended up obviously graduating high school and then getting into college, and that's when we realized, okay, there's a kinesiology department. Or when I realized it, you know, he went on to do business. So then I started pursuing that, and I got my certification on the side and started training already while I was in college.
Okay.
So that's where I started doing the battles of, I'm really scaling this personal training business, and I'm still going to college. I don't know for what though, right?
And you're quite successful at that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was actually, so like I said, Long Beach is a very, very diverse city. So I first got hired on at Bally Total Fitness as a rookie trainer, dude. I didn't know what I was doing, you know. But what it taught me, it was a lot of selling, right? It's very corporate. So everybody that walked through that door, regardless of their race, where they come from, their background, I had to learn how to communicate with that person and break down their red barrier wall, the wall of a fence. You know, you got to break it down and close the deal. Like, as a trainer, you know, I wanted to make everybody feel comfortable. I don't care who you are, what your background is, you need me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can better your life. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it all started from right there too, like that corporate structure.
Do you think some of those values are what you've carried over
100%.
to today?
I feel as an entrepreneur and in any world of business, your social skills and the way you carry yourself is gonna make or break you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go so far because people just want to do business with you. You just be genuine and you're just, you know what I mean, willing to help and yeah, I don't know, it's just being likable, I guess.
And the t-shirts came in the fitness side as well then. Were you selling those to your PT clients? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, so I've worked corporate Bally's for about 5 years, and then LA Fitness actually bought them out. So we all got laid off and they wanted to rehire us with a different pay structure. And I was like, no, this ain't gonna work out, you know? So that's when I actually found a private gym called No Limits in Signal Hill. They were able to rent space out for me, and then I just trained my clients there. And then that's when I discovered like Beatrice Coulian's business model about training, group training, doing boot camps, and that's when I started implementing that, you know, with my clients, and then using social media, which was Facebook at the time, to leverage and market my business. But when I was marketing it, I mean, I wasn't doing it just to market. My thing was I just wanted it's cool, you know. I just want to see my clients having fun. So when we started scaling the business privately, I saw the video. I was like, dude, it would be cool, since I already know how to design, why not make our own little t-shirts and just like, hey, we were rocking it all together. Like, you know, Lift It was just a slogan. So I created that, and yeah, it just blew up from there, you know.
Your social media is amazing. What was it like back in those early days?
Dude, I was just connected to my friends, you know, and the only way I could reach other people was through my clients. So when my clients saw them having fun on my videos, of course they wanted to share it, right? So when they start sharing it, then that's when the real reach started happening, where I'm like, okay, I would have never reached these other people if it wasn't for my client, you know, because our relationship is just personal trainer and clients. You know, there's no group of friends or nothing. So when I had like 50 clients at the time, it was just like an army of foot soldiers helping me out, you know? And yeah, it just spread like that. But then I was smart enough to realize I had something going on. So instead of driving around in my car, meeting people up to sell my shirts, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna make an e-commerce store, because I'm a kind of a computer whiz too. I was like, all right, at that time I built a big cartel and put a couple of SKUs up that was free, and then I started getting orders. I was like, dude, this is insane, you know? And it just got to that point where I had a full-on line. The revenue was outweighing my personal training business, which was very good at the time, you know? Right. And I was like, and I was still going to college. So when I started really scaling the clothing line, when it started selling, I was a one-man army, you know? So I had to pack, I had to ship, I had to do the tracking, I had to do the emails, the web designing, the photo shooting of the products, all the campaigning. I had to do that all myself while still personal training.
Okay. And I guess buying the t-shirts.
Exactly. Oh yeah, dude, I would drive out to LA, you know, to the fashion district like every other morning to go restock on blank shirts and stuff, and negotiate with these like other like hustlers out there too, you know, and they just see I'm like a kid, but yeah, I guess it's working. So there was, you know, I'll build a relationship with them over there too. So, but yeah, so I was hustling, and then until the revenue started really growing, and then it wasn't stopping, but it was my time that was stopping me, my time personal training. Because in personal training, you're trading your time for services, right? With this, I was getting money when I was sleeping, and I'd never experienced that before. So I was like, dude, this is crazy, okay? And it all the what do you call, paper trail showed, all the records showed me that it was still going up. So I had to take this chance to like, and I talked to my clients about it too, like prior, because they were all like, no, you just got to stay, finish school, do this. Because I was training lawyers, I was training doctors at the time too. They didn't know anything about this field, and you know, so, but you become so close to your clients that you build this relationship where you can tell them things, you know. So they really knew I was passionate about scaling this clothing line, you know. So I had a heart-to-heart talk with all my clients, and gave them to my clients, or my other trainers that worked for me at the time. So I had 2 trainers at the time. So I was like, you know, I'm sorry, I think I'm gonna go full time with this Lift It apparel thing and build this empire. And then they're like, sure enough, you know, obviously they're gonna support you. So that was cool, and I stopped personal training, and then I dropped out of college too as well, and I went full on with Live Fit apparel, and I never looked back.
Was it a big decision to sort of give up the security of what you knew?
Yeah, I was fighting back and forth with everybody, not just my clients, like my parents, my mom, my dad, my friends, for like a year or two, and then my other professors too and teachers at Cal State Long Beach, because I was almost done, you know. But I just had to do these internship hours that I couldn't do because of time. But I was like, dude, like I can't. Can you just give me like an honorary degree or something? Like I can't do this. But they didn't see that I was full-on personal training, you know. Like I was in class with students that were asking questions that I had already done, you know. Like, dude, what do you know? I just felt like I was so ahead of the game because I realized, you know, you can just get your certification, and once you learn how to do business in the correct way, you can make it happen. You don't need a degree, you know.
How would you sort of explain that situation? You know, sort of reflecting, you know, 5 years or whatever it was going back. How would you sum that up to someone who's probably younger thinking about that?
Oh yeah, I would say if you have some momentum and you really truly believe that you can scale it, go for it. You know, because if I were to do it again, I would have pumped the brakes on the college right away. It was that was like a weird thing. Like I battled that throughout I went to college for like 5 years, you know, and then the last 2 years I was just kind of realizing like, dude, what am I doing? You know, these students here are, not to put them down, but I'm just like, I'm on another level, you know, I have something going. But I would have cut that out sooner and just really, whatever shows, like the revenue, if it's the revenue's there and it's growing, go for it. College will always be there to take my money. It'll always be there, you know. It's a business too. But if you got something good going, go and just go full on, you know. Even if it means hurting people around you, or people that, if it means them not understanding you, like you just have to do it, because I only saw what I saw. No one else saw it.
When did you see the vision for the brand? So almost going from selling T-shirts from the back of your car and, you know, wheeling and dealing kind of almost to seeing it as what it is today that we've just walked around. When did that sort of suddenly hit you that that's what it could be?
When I started having more SKUs, more like more multiple T-shirt designs and stuff, I knew how to brand it because of my band before, and I had multiple streetwear brands that didn't take off. This was like in high school, but I knew everything had to be in unison, right?
When you say unison, what do you mean by that?
Like it had to have a certain vibe. It had to have a certain feel to it. You know, like you had to recognize LBFT, Live Fit when you see it. You know, regardless, coming from the outside perspective, that it had to be shot a certain way, because that's just me being artistic and stuff, you know. And coming from a skateboard background, I was always watching skate videos. And with skate videos, they always had teams that represent the skate company. They would go on tour, mess around, have fun, meet fans. I was like, dude, I want to do that. Why can't I just do that in the fitness space? So I did it. I was like, hey, I'm going to sponsor some physique pros, some bodybuilders, get a team going. And we did. We got a team. We did an expo, did meet and greets. We're like, dude, this is fucking cool. So I kind of like just saw that the way skate companies structured their team and how they marketed it, and I just kind of spin that off and did it in the fitness space and leveraged it with social media.
Right.
Yeah.
And the brands, there's a heavy, I guess, influence on you as an individual. Your sort of style, your life seems to be a big part of that. Was that intentional?
It wasn't intentional at first. At first, I wanted to cater to everybody because I was a nobody. I wasn't the face of it. When it started scaling, it was just the brand, you know. And then later down the line, people started, once social media, Instagram started becoming more dominant. Instagram shows companies and the direct relationship it has with the owner. So then that's when my face started popping up. People wanted to see the behind the scenes. So then I was like, dude, I'm getting all this buzz. I might as well just run with it. So then I started designing stuff that I like as well. I mean, I still don't verge off my style still from that, you know, but I do make pieces now just for my liking, and then people would catch on to that. And I think when I'm being more authentic and being more of, putting out product that has more of my style, people can relate to it more, you know what I'm saying, than just like a commercial type of brand.
Do you think that's a big, with sort of websites and social media, do you think that's really allowed that type of model to now exist but couldn't have existed before? Because I guess you didn't need that retailer to get visibility, didn't you? You needed to be seen in the stores,
Yep.
I suppose,
Yep.
or television, I guess.
Exactly. No, that's totally true. Yep. You know, back then brands needed to, you go to these trade shows to get accounts with the stores. Now you don't even need to go to the trade shows. You know, you just, oh, you can find me online right here, you know? Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and for us, we don't completely block out wholesale accounts. We have about like 80, 90 accounts right now worldwide, but they're just, we pick and choose them, you know? And we like to support the smaller mom and pop stores, the little surf shops here and there. So it's kind of cool, you know?
With your, I guess, social media presence, you must have a lot of people coming to you with lots of opportunities to do things with the brand. Do you think, you know, is it difficult to kind of, do you have to remain focused and try and avoid to get too distracted and take your eye off the core business?
Yes. Yeah, because you're right. I get multiple emails a day, you know, of collaborations of this, or we should do this, or how can we help you about, and it's like, you have to obviously read it because you don't want to let anything filter through and slip by. But at the end of the day, you got to, for us especially, we want to remain exclusive. You know, our team is exclusive. How we represent ourselves. You know, we're very, very picky about who we associate ourselves with too as well. And I just want to keep it that way. It just makes it harder for, I guess, not harder, but just makes it more exclusive, because that's just where I come from. Like the streetwear, you know, side is like, okay, they're only going to drop like 100 shirts. I need to get this one now, and I'll pay whatever for it. You know, it's just kind of like that type of build up. You know, the value of the brand, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you, when you look back over that period from when you start, what would you say is one of the most difficult things that you had to overcome that you didn't sort of expect?
It literally was the real business side of things, the back end stuff, the legal stuff, the logistics, those type of things that no one can teach you, you know, because you're going at your own lane. But like taxes and all that stuff and law, it's crazy because I had to learn that quick while not letting it be able to stunt my creative side, because there was moments where I had to deal with a lot of just like employee issues, a lot of tax issues, and just learning those laws, you know, legal issues with like trademarking, with suing people that were using our name and stuff, where it's you realize how crooked stuff is, you know, when you just, at the end of the day, it's like all about how much money you have, whether you're right or wrong. Yeah, I've bled a lot as far as like bleeding a lot of money. Luckily, I had those profits to cover those holes, you know.
Yeah, that's always a good thing, isn't it? Having the
Yeah,
sales
yeah, it's crazy though. But then I realized, like, dang man, this is, the more you make, the more the government takes from you, and the more you make, the more of a hassle just things become, you know. But now I'm at a point now. That was like my fourth, fifth year, like, you know, going through a lot of just the government stuff, and then now learning that, having that knowledge in the back of my head is kind of easier to go, you know.
Yeah. So when I know when I started the business, you kind of go for a phase where you just, probably like you in the car, you're running around doing everything. You know, I call it we call it firefighting. How has your business style as a CEO evolved, and what do you do now on a Monday morning? Because you still have to wear lots of hats. You're legal. You've got to keep an eye on the finances. You're involved in, you know, the creative side, and I've seen you. You know, you're constantly on social media building your brand. How do you look at your week and balance or decide on what to focus on?
The most important part before all that stuff happens is you have to build a really, really solid team, okay, and a team of executives that really know what they're doing and really know their department, you know. And that took years, you know. Like we're still probably shaping that right now, but I have like 4 executives right now that are really, really well off, and I can literally leave and they can run the show, you know?
How did you know that that was important? Because I speak to a lot of very successful people with big businesses, thousands of employees, and they all say that same thing. And I think as a business where you've got family in it, it's quite easy to say, well, we're going to do everything. What got you to, did someone tell you need to do that, or did you just dawn on you?
No, I had to learn the hard way, you know, because I've had old employees steal from me. It's crazy, yeah, but I've had old employees just do shady stuff that you'd never thought that people could do, you know? So then the guys that stuck around and really were in it for the right reasons, like you could tell these are the guys that wear multiple hats. They're willing to do whatever it takes, you know? And then we find their strengths and then put them there, you know, and then they start managing their team of foot soldiers and whatnot. But it's just so important because I can, if not, my creative side gets stunned because I have to deal with the finances directly. I have to deal with the logistics directly, the shipping directly, all that. I was like, I can't expand, I can't scale, or can't get creative if I have to do that. So I had to build this team to where I can just have a quick conversation in the morning to say that, oh, this is okay, this is going smooth, the projection for the day is looking good, cool, my stress is off there, I can have fun in the studio, in the lab, and get creative,
right?
You know? But it was so hard to build that team, and I don't know, man, maybe it's luck, I don't know, I hate to use that word, but fuck, man, I had to go through a lot of employees, you know, not a lot, but just finding the right ones, you know?
Right.
It's all about, I think, who you hire.
So your first focus is get your team, make sure your team are doing the right things that they're supposed to do, and then that frees you up to do, I guess, what you enjoy and what you're good at, which is the creative side.
Exactly.
So that takes me on to social media then. How much time in a typical week do you spend kind of creating or sort of putting out content on social media?
A lot, actually. It kind of like my whole life is, I don't want to say my whole life, but I actually probably could do more, but I like to keep my private life private, you know, like me and my fiance and stuff in our relationship. I kind of keep it private, but more of the entrepreneur side and like my lifestyle. When we shoot content, like myself and Miguel and Jason, we kind of just do it for fun, and it ends up being on social media. So it's kind of like I'm just having fun, and with that, I guess content gets created, and here you go. Here's a post, you know. And I guess that goes back to where like you have to really love what you're doing, because then you're not working, you know. Because some of the best content creation is like off the clock, you know, like at night or in the evening when you're out or something, you know. Those are the best times when things happen. You
must, as a CEO then, seem that the investment that you make in terms of creating content and putting it out is the best place for you to be as a you know, heading up your company then.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, ours is all built off of like content and the creative side, you know, and it's not like necessarily the equipment and like how it's what we're shooting, you know. The content has to be like good content to shoot, you know, because I get a lot of questions too, where people are like, oh, what camera do you use? What do you use this or what, you know? I'm like, do we use like an iPhone sometimes, you know? It's just what goes viral or that's what's gonna make a buzz, you know?
Yeah.
So the content that's being shot has to be legit.
Probably a lot of businesses that listen to this and people who own business are kind of probably in that I guess, digital world, and they're sort of, you know, maybe making that shift. What would you say for companies that probably, you know, they are a CEO and they're quite behind the scenes, but they're considering this? Do you think it's important to start making that shift and to be probably investing more in building your own brand directly? Do you think that's inevitable, the way that the market's going, and you should jump on that bandwagon kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it never hurts to try it, but you have to really now be aware of if it is working or not. You have to kind of see the track record and see if it's scaling or not, you know, because some people it just might not hit. It depends on like the business, you know. If it's not like, if you're not in the business of like branding or whatnot, then it's probably not too important. Maybe just kind of focus on the back end and scale and make sure the product's moving. But in my case, it's very heavily on branding and influencing. So I think making a personal brand or a personal page and going out there and exposing yourself a little more is the way to go, you know, because like I said before, it's all going to direct back to your business anyways.
And it's an interesting one because I didn't know before I came here, I didn't know about your brand, and I've become a fan of it through just, you know, watching the Instagram, watching the videos and learning about it. And I guess it's probably the same as if, I'm like you, I don't watch TV either, and it's probably the same thing as if I'd have watched a commercial and seen the stuff in there, but I've learnt about it. And I guess, you know, it is quite powerful because you understand the story and what they're about. And even some of the videos that I've watched in terms of, you know, the designing some of the products, it kind of shows people the behind the scenes stuff that I think you're very good at.
Yep, it shows them that I'm a real person and I'm, you know, living a normal life too while I'm doing this as well, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it gives people hope too, you know?
And there's, I suppose there's a fear, you know, when I first was in front of a camera, and I'm not saying I'm great now, but, you know, pretty much terrified for a lot of people. Were you just a natural, or over those period of time, can you see that, you know, you weren't very good, but you just said, I'm going to do it, and you get better as time goes on?
Oh, I can tell you right now, this interview is probably one of the best that I've spoke on. Just because over time, you get used to it. It's cringy watching like my first few interviews where I'm just like, you know, just, but that comes with the social media presence and being a face of a company. You have to learn to be this person, you know? Like I never thought I would be like this dude on camera speaking and stuff like that, you know? I was always just doing the creative side, working behind the scenes. But I knew that this was gonna help scale my business, so I had to learn it regardless anyways to be, you know, be perceived as like a leader, you know? And obviously it's good for my employees too as well. But yeah, it's just the way you have to shift with the times, I think, you know, and if you are an introverted person, just practice, you know, it's gonna suck in the beginning, but the more you do it, just like anything else, you get better at it, you know?
And looking at you now, you're brilliant on, you know, your videos are fantastic, but I guess, how many years did it take to get from, you know, bad to to where you are today then?
Man, I guess I'm still working on it, but it's the moment when I realized like I just didn't care what anyone else thought. Like, this is my business, you know, like if I don't do this, I'm not gonna eat, you know? When you really think about that, nothing else matters, and then you can just straight up focus. It's so much easier, but it's very hard actually at first to, you know, because your friends see you and you know, people that aren't used to seeing you in front of a camera talking this way or being perceived this way, you kind of feel this sense of embarrassment, you know? But then once you just say that, fuck it, I don't give a shit anymore, you're not feeding me, I'm doing this for my business, my brand, dude, it's so much easier. I could fucking do interviews all day in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, you know?
I think that's the problem with a lot of us. It is scary for whatever reason. Even they say public speaking is one of the most scariest things that people have done. And I watched a video of you doing it, and you was excellent actually. But I think that's the thing. People, in some cases, you know, particularly if you're getting started, it's that fear of looking stupid in front of your mates that probably holds people back. And yeah, your mates will probably take the piss out of you down the pub or whatever. It's like, well, what are you doing? And I think a bit like when you made that decision to sort of go full out for your business and give it up and almost kind of ignore what everyone says. I think that's a good lesson for probably people to say, well, look, you know, if you're really passionate about it, you know, just do it. You know,
just do it, yeah. Just do it. I mean, you're gonna get criticism regardless, you know, but do you want to look back 10 years from now and be like, damn, I wish I should have started that. I should have been on, you know? Like, no, why? Just do it.
and I think you've really broke through clothing is a crazy, everybody's doing clothing.
Yes.
You know, like the competition is fierce, and particularly around here, there's some extremely creative people. There's some brands, you know, skateboarding brands and surf brands and fitness brands, they're everywhere. And I guess, you know, that statement that you've said is a great example of, you know, if you can create a clothing brand from the back of your car and just by doing things differently, and as you said, you weren't anyone before you started, you know, now your personality, then, you know, potentially anyone can do that.
Exactly. And that's what my main message is, dude, I'm just like everybody else out there, you know, if not at a worse fucking position, you know, and if I can do this, dude, anybody can. You just have to like really have that right mindset, not really give a shit about what people think, really know how the world works and how business works. And dude, man, there's enough you know, for everybody to eat off the table. You know, it's just, you got to find your niche and just go all in.
As I said, I watched the videos and I was coming here and saying, right, I'm looking for this magic formula. You know, this guy, I was impressed. I liked my design and I was impressed. And I thought, right, I want to know what's behind it. You know, maybe something happened. And I'm sure everybody else thinks, oh, you know, he was lucky. He must have just been in the right place at the right time. But following it through, listening to the stories, seeing the stories of building your warehouse, you know, from my mind, the magic formula was bloody hard work.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, there's no magic formula, you know, it's just experience after experience and not giving up, literally, you know, as cliche as it sounds. It's like, I'm learning from my mistakes and applying what I've learned to the next move, whether I'm doing personal training or clothing, you know, there's things that you learn in every single aspect of lessons that you failed from, you know, so.
So what's next then? What would be your ambition? Is it to be the next Nike or Adidas, or is it to be this kind of boutique Gucci type of sports brand? Where would you ideally like to see the business?
I don't know. I feel like I'm in a really good niche right now, and I'm just gonna run with it and have fun with it. As long as I'm having fun and staying creative, I don't think it'll ever die out. You know, I don't really care if we're making X amount of money, this, as long as we're making an impact and continuously, for me, continuously being able to be creative, because that keeps me sane as well, then I'm good, you know, I'm sweet, you know, because I've seen other entrepreneurs, I've heard other entrepreneurs talk about where they've just got out of like $100 million deals and just left it because they weren't happy, you know. It's like, I want to be happy. I got a good staff here. I love everybody I work with, so it's like, dude, if we're having fun and I, you know, live my life like this, dude, I'm sweet.
To say that, I think is also quite unique, because most people, it's like, yeah, I want to build the company and I want to sell it and I want to do something I really enjoy. And I think it's nice if you, which from what you've done, is to be able to be building a business and saying, actually, I'm loving the ride. You know,
Exactly.
I'm making the money I need.
Yep.
But I don't need another 100 million in the bank, and I'm loving what I'm doing.
Yeah, just like you said, when people sell so they can do something they love, I'm already doing what I love, so, you know, I already skipped that part, you know, and I'm making pretty good income, so, and everyone here's chilling, we're all having a good time, so it's like a good balance, you know. I don't think anything can buy that, you know what I'm saying, like a peace of mind, I guess.
And doing the tour and seeing the ideas and where you're going with it, you know, it shows that. It's like it sounds like you'd do this if you weren't getting paid for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I probably would, you know, just to see a design on a t-shirt that I made, I'm like, yes, that's mine, you know. I get hyped off of that, you know, so.
And I think that's a good lesson, because we had an interview yesterday and we're talking about, you know, some people are like, well, I don't know what I should do for my career and I don't know how I could make money. And I think sometimes it's like, well, you know, if you can do something you enjoy and you got the ability to, you know, make some money out of that, then that's probably ultimately where you want to be focusing your time. And so the final question then we ask it at the end of our podcast is, Escape Your Limits is about people that have escaped what people around them have said is impossible, or what they've kind of previously said to themselves is impossible. What would be a recent example of you escaping your own personal limits?
I don't know, I guess I could say just hitting the 5-year mark of having a clothing brand, because I guess statistics shows that the 5-year mark is when clothing lines start to decline, and I'm like, nah, it's not even, you know, not even close. So, you know, it's huge for us.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite an achievement. I think any business, I think in any industry, I think if you get beyond sort of 2 or 3 years, the percentage that are actually still surviving is pretty small, and you know, particularly if you're making money and growing, that's quite an achievement.
Yep. Yep.
So there's some great lessons there. I appreciate your time and inviting me into your business and into your life. I wish you success, and thank you very much, Randall.
Thanks for having me. Heck
Appreciate it.
Sweet.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. That's right. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. That's right. For the record, lab on me going all the way. All the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. Stop calling. For the record, for the record, for the record.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, then please go over to iTunes and subscribe to the Escape Your Limits podcast. Leave a review, leave a comment. It really would help us a lot to continue to keep these going.